Welcome back to our counter-series guide. This time it's going to be the dragon egg, which has caused players trouble many times. But before we talk about this topic, let me remind you about the counter rules that we discussed in the previous video. One is that your card level shouldn't be lower than the counter target itself. Two, you must understand that this game is like other MOBA games, in that sometimes you need to prepare something to get an advantage on the meta in the present until its popularity gets pulled down. Three, there is no deck that has an advantage over all decks. Okay, so let's get started on the common knowledge that the dragon egg packed up with Hagrid is the strongest, which means if you can counter this, you can win on Neville or other dragon egg echo sets. Hagrid's egg set usually has 4 sets of cards that are totally inflexible, which are Nebulous, Bombastic Bombox, Essence of Dittany or Episky, and the dragon egg itself. Which means 4 more cards left are unpredictable. They will change depending on the player's playing style. Neither will they be Matagot, Pixies, Centaurs or Monster Book. But as we said, if Hagrid has used the attacker unit more than the dragon egg itself, they will have to spend mana on that, which will slow down the dragon egg card loop, so it will be your flexible skill to be against them. Anyways, the first companion of this deck is usually Daniel, who can totally guarantee to hatch the dragon egg successfully. So, if you pick Ivy to be your first companion to vanish that inevitable dragon, your opponent will instantly disadvantage on the beginning, and so on. But it is at your own risk to pick Ivy as your first companion, since it gives you a chance to face another player's deck. However, like I said before about number 2 of the counter rules. Now let's look at the card that may have worked on the dragon egg. First, the Orb of Water, which sounds nice, but sadly, if the opponent has an interrupt spell, it will not be enough to counter. Also, its damage is not enough to break the dragon egg, since it has healed a huge amount over time inside the orb. Second's Cassandra's Companion, which summons players, always has counter cards to kill her, so no. Third, Whiz Bang, which guarantee to break the dragon egg.
Fantastic move!
Fourth is Poison, which will force them to place the egg outside of the mist, making it easier for you to target the egg.
Niffler. Norwegian Ridgeback.
Fifth, Atmospheric Charms. This totally stops the hacking process because it reduces healing debuff, while you can use another spell to prevent the opponent from covering the egg by themselves. As you see, Poison are not enough to break the egg, but Axio again are enough to make opponent gameplay difficult.
Norwegian Ridgeback.
Sixth, Aquamenti forces the opponent to choose to let the egg suffer or take the damage on their own. It's an equivalent exchange, if I may say. Seventh is Crucio. If your card level is not lower than 1, it guarantees to kill the Dragon Brat. But make sure you do not get interrupted. Now, for actual gameplay, I will only use Hermione against Hagrid's deck to show that even the most disadvantageous deck can win. This deck is not focused on fighting dragon eggs only, but it can be used on another opponent's deck.
Norwegian Ridgeback. That's you.
The first dragon is inevitable, so let it hatch and use Ivy to vanish it.
See those unicorns? Let's make this short and sweet. That was not like me at all. Keep going. You've got this.
on now.
Trust me, I'll protect you.
Just get this over with.
I'll do better next time.
Sometimes there will be an opportunity to make your opponent can't place an egg in a deeper zone, so you can use Expulso to push it out. If it can be hatched, you can cover yourself with Nebulous and use another spell to kill it. Remember that, in the meantime, Hagrid's user has no mana left, since they already spent over 9 mana to make a combo loop. So it is your turn to flip the table.
Norwegian Ridgeback. Slide along
Now, for Bellatrix's example guide, which many players love to play this deck. You can use Monster Book and crowd control spells to put the dragon in place, and Confringo to make it nearly dead.
Fantastic fun!
You've got this.
I'll get you for this.
Incendio.
Krapisky! Norwegian Ridgeback. Neville. Side along apparition. Let's make this short and sweet. Fantastic fun! Niffler.
If you cannot stop the egg hatching, just use Ivy. Anyway, in the middle part of the game, if you can summon the Death Eater, it will be your advantage against Hagrid instead.
Norwegian Ridgeback. Ooh, that was not like me at all. A pisky. Fantastic fun! Niffler. Norwegian Ridgeback. Neville. Krapisky. Confringo. Fantastic fun!
At the end, you see, players who mostly suffer from the Dragon Egg are usually summoner decks like Newt's or Hagrid Locomotor's deck, since the Dragon Egg is the strongest unit in the present. Once again, the counter level needs to be no different than 1 level. If it is more than 2, it is normal to fail. And also, every time it's new meta, you should prepare yourself for no problem too. Until we meet again in the counter series. I hope this video was helpful and inspired you. If you think so, please like, subscribe and share to move to Vation for the next video. Thanks for watching.